Hello everybody, it's Hal, Quail Studios Guitar. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. We're going to talk about fingerpicking today, and I'm going to do it in the constraints of Vincent, which is called Starry Starry Night, if you want to call it that, by McLean. It's a very fun song. I love it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I play it. We're going to talk about the structure of the song a little bit. And also fingerpicking and different patterns that we use as we fingerpick. Because there's some confusion about, well, how do I do this? How do I make it sound like you? How do I actually make it flow like you make it flow, and that kind of thing? So we're going to talk about that and how you can do it and how you can work up to that if you're not able to do it right now. This is a very fun song to play. I love it. Beautiful song. I didn't really realize it was about Vincent van Gogh when I first heard it. I just thought it was a beautiful, excellent song. Anyway, let's talk about fingerpicking for a minute here. Let's see here. Let's look at the chat. Happy New Year. Hello. Very, very nice. Oh, okay. Very good. Yes, it's still winter time. So we're experiencing winter. Give me a like if you like what this is, how this is going to go here at any time. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, now in my book, Starry Starry Night, or Vincent, is a lead sheet, and it's also a tab sheet. And you'll find it on page 293 in my book, on the latest version of my book, which is the December version, 2022. And the tab sheet goes through the whole song. And what happens here is, when you... how to explain this? When I first started to fingerpick, seriously, I had already been playing the guitar for probably about 16, 17 years before I really got serious about fingerpicking and understanding fingerpicking and learning about fingerpicking. I had moved to Cedar City, Utah, and started to get interested because a friend of mine there who I met was interested in classical guitar. And I had this classical guitar. This is an Ibanez 2863, all solid wood classical guitar. Got it when I worked at Chesbro Music Company in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Very fun guitar. Now, I'm going to show you also, there's some guitars behind me. I can do this on my electric guitar. I can do this on my Baby Taylor. I can do this on my other guitars. It doesn't matter what guitar I'm using, but when I first started playing classical guitar, the guitar teacher said to me, "You're holding the guitar wrong. You're sitting wrong, you're holding your fingers wrong, your hands wrong, all that kind of thing. So we need to change all of that." And I was like, okay. Now I've been playing the guitar since I was 12 years old, mostly with the pick. Right? And really hadn't done very much study in fingerpicking or anything like that. Of course, I watched James Taylor and different people fingerpick. But it was when I started understanding classical guitar that I started to really hone my skills. And I'm using a classical guitar position. Let me change my camera here for a second. And we're going to show you exactly my position. And I've got a video that's coming out that's going to show this a little bit better. I'm going to do a video on classical guitar position and regular guitar position. Like a lot of times we play the guitar like this, right? And that's fine, that works. But I tried classical guitar, put the guitar between my legs like this. Now what happens is that when you have the guitar in this position, and if you watch classical guitar players, their guitar is in kind of an upright position, and the neck, here, let me get the camera a little farther back. The neck is like a 45-degree angle, like this. But you'll notice that when I'm doing bar chords, right? It's very natural, this hand position that we have here. It's a very good hand position. So using this position to learn how to play certain kinds of things like bar chords, and also to finger pick, is very handy too. Because your hand comes around like this, and it's not contorted or anything like that. If you have the guitar in this position, now I've got a stool that got my feet on so that I can get the guitar up into the camera. But if you're in this position, a lot of times people hold their hand funny, and actually if I were to give James Taylor some lessons, I would probably ask him to change his hand position, but I'm not going to do that for James Taylor. You know, I mean, he's James Taylor, and he has wonderful, wonderful songs, and he's James Taylor. So, but if you were playing the guitar like James Taylor, I'd probably try to help you to get a better position, because it's more versatile if you get out of the kind of position that he has. But also, I do have some videos. I have one on Vincent that you can find on YouTube. You can just search. And then I have also a couple of other videos that are about how to hold the guitar and finger picking too. But anyway, let's talk about this. At the beginning, what I do here, this is the first thing that I do. I play a G chord and this kind of picking pattern. Now I'm using my thumb, my index, my middle, and my ring finger for this. Okay? And I've got my thumb on the E string, the low E string, and my index finger on the D string. So I'm skipping over the A string. And then I've got my ring and my middle finger on the G and the B strings. And I call this rocking back and forth. Let's move the camera again. So you can see it a little bit better. You can see other things in my studio, like my heater, right? Just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the bass note, and then the index finger, and then these two fingers, and then back to the D string. Actually, I'm using my guitar, my G chord like this, right? I'm not even pressing down on that one. You can press down on it if you want, but you're not playing that note. On this particular song, I use this position where I use the fourth finger, my third finger and my fourth finger, and then I'm going to go to this guitar chord, where this is going to go down just like a C chord, but it's a G chord, and it's kind of like a C chord and a G chord at the same time. We call it a C chord with a G bass. Uh-oh. I think I'm going out of tune just a little bit. Let's fix that. Yep. I can't stand that. We got to make sure it's in tune. Yep. I think it's getting warmer in here. This guitar changes tuning when the temperature rises. There we go. Okay. So that's the beginning that I use on my tablature. So this, I call that rocking back and forth. Now if you can't do that, just take your G chord and practice this over and over. You can do this with different chords. You can do it with a G chord. You can do it with a C chord. Now what I did here, I'm keeping my index finger on the D string, my middle finger on the G string, and my ring finger on the B string. When I changed the C chord, I went to the A string with my bass note, with my thumb. Let's go back to G. You can do it with an A minor chord. You can do this with an E chord. I'm using an E7. Pay attention to where your bass note is and where it's moving around to, because it's really important. As an E minor chord. So I'm just practicing this thing. So for Starry Starry Night, so this is the first thing I do. And then I take those two fingers on the D string and the B string and I play, I do an open, play these two fingers open, and then I hammer there to first fret, just like a C chord. So I go. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 eighth notes in that measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again. Okay, and that's the beginning. And then I play. Now I'm using my pinky right there. In classical guitar, you don't do that most of the time. But in something this gentle, you can actually do that. So I'll play that again from the beginning. I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's my introduction. Now, one of the things that, if you look at my tablature and you look how it's written out, if I were to play it exactly the way it's written, let's try that again. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, with eyes that know the darkness in my soul, shadows on the hills. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually just playing everything very strict, just like if I had a metronome. Tick, 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 tick. And I'm not really singing it any different either. I'm singing it very straight, is what we call it. But when I play this song, I don't sing it like that. I do something called rubato. Rubato is when we speed up and slow down. But you've got to know exactly how the structure is of the song so that you can actually play rubato very well. So if I count the beats, the quarter note beats, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be the beats. Now if I count the eighth notes, I could count it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? That's hard to do. Sometimes I'll just count it as straight eighth notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm actually going to come out with a video lesson series on how to play this song. And those people that are actually supporting me either on Patreon or on Subscribestar or PayPal supporters, they're going to get this for no extra charge. But for those of you that not, if you want to get the video series, it'll be like 10 videos. There'll be a small charge, like $19.95 or something like that, to get those videos. And it's going to talk about how to play this song and also how to do all of these different, how to hold the guitar and also how to play the different, what do we call it? Guitar, the different things that we're doing. Those kinds of things. So one of the things I did was this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's really important to be able to do that. Let me play a little bit of Starry Starry Night again at the beginning, and I'll show you how the rubato works. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, stretch the keys and daffodils. Forgot what the word was. Sketch the trees. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually speeding up and slowing down. I'm not keeping it really straight, because you've got to know the straight rhythm and then you can work with it. Right? And you got to know where those beats are. Okay, so let's look at another thing that we need to do on this particular, for that A sus2. I was doing the same thing I was doing before, that rocking back and forth. And then I had a hammer on. Very similar to the one I did that with the G chord. Okay, also a C chord, when I was playing the C chord, same thing, I was rocking back and forth. Now right there, on measure 7, I'm doing that. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something like that. It's hard to talk and play at the same time. With the D7 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A lot of times what you need to do is you just need to practice these things separately if you can't put them together. Right? The picking pattern and that kind of thing. Now, one thing you could do, I'm going to look at my chat here in just a second and see if I have any questions. One thing you could do is you could take one pattern and play it all the way through. For instance, we could do this. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and daffodils. See what I did there? I'm just taking that pattern, the 8-beat pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then just changing chords. And I didn't do all the little fancy chords, like I didn't do the A sus2 to the A minor. I just played A sus2 and then A minor. And when I went to C, I didn't do anything fancy. And when I went to D7, now the D7 is interesting because you only have 4 strings to work with, and you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're 7 and 8. You just start over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. But you need 8 notes in there if you're going to just do that. And you have to do some playing notes the second time. Now let's change guitars, because I'm going to just show you on a different guitar how it works. I'm going to unplug this one. And I could bring my Blue Ridge over, or my electric guitar. What do you prefer? Anybody prefer something different? Let's see what the chat says. Yes, I'm using a footrest. Yes, got my feet on a footrest. It's actually a box. Let's see. I once got an A in a college class for using twin projectors with 35mm slides of Van Gogh's paintings and playing this whole song on a boombox. And that's awesome. That's cool, Dermot. Wait. No, that's Dean saying that. Let's see. That's the way I play it, Hal, but I prefer your way. Oh, okay. Right. I understand. I like the electric. Okay. I'm going to go to the electric. Be right back. Just going to grab it. It's right back there. Can you see it? Oh, I can't point at it. All right. Be right back. All right, let's see what we got here. Make sure that my volume is good and that you guys can hear it. Check my tuning really quick here because I brought this guitar in from a different room that was a little cooler than in this particular room, so I always check my tuning before I play. Then play a few chords. Right. Bob says it's easier on the arthritis. You know, the way I actually got this tablature, the one that I wrote out here, is what I did was I recorded the song, videoed it, and then whatever I was doing, I wrote it down. That's how I figured out the tablature for this. It's easier to do it that way for me. Now, sometimes in that process, I realize, oh, you know what I'm doing is I'm doing something very inconsistent. So a lot of times I'll fix it in the tablature and do something a little more consistent. Or I might make a mistake, of course. So the same thing happens. You put it on your right leg, or you could put it into the classical guitar position like this. Right? Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something here. I forgot to put on the screen. This is the tablature for the G chord. That rocking back and forth. Here, let's put it this way so you can see my guitar and the tablature on the screen. That's my G chord tablature. I'm going to leave it there for a second so you can see it. Now, when you come back to the video, like another time, and you want to look at it, you can stop it. And now here's the tablature for that particular chord. It's the same thing. It's going to the G chord, and then we have this hammer on. That's the C with the G bass. And then we go to Starry Starry. See that? Let's make that a little bigger so you can see it. For some reason, that's a little smaller. There we go. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is what I do. Paint your palette blue and gray. This is when I'm going. That's what I was talking about before, when you go up and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just like that. Now let's go to the next one. Oh yeah. This, I didn't have that A sus2. You notice that I actually had the A sus2. It's the same thing as that G. Only, of course, starting on the A string. Uh-oh, you know what? I think I can move this over. There it is. Block out my face. But you can see the tablature. So it goes like this. paint your palette blue and gray. And then I do that again. Okay, let's go to the next one. Summer's day. Like that. That's the C chord. That's what I was talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That 1 0 at the top there, I'm holding that for one whole beat, or 2 eighth notes. Dum. Now if you mess up on that and come in a little early, that works too. Let's see, how would I do that? Like that. And see if there's any more. Oh, with eyes that know the darkness in my... That's the D7. Eyes that know the darkness in my... You'll notice right there that over the darkness, you'll notice that there's a 2 on the E string. And in, the word in, that's because it lines up with those notes. Eyes that know the darkness in my soul. See if I've got that. Nope, that goes back to the beginning. Eyes that know the darkness in my soul. So that's the way it goes. So you've got to, one of the things that I do when I'm playing and figuring out where do I sing and that kind of thing is I figure out when I'm playing, what note am I playing with what word am I singing? Eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Da, 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 da. Okay, Santa brought me, this is Dermot, a lovely 15-watt Marshall amp for Christmas. I must try that song on electric. Always associated Vincent with acoustic. You know, it's fun. You don't have to do the distortion, Dermot, to have fun with it. But I love, let's see, I don't have any, there's a little reverb. Hear that reverb? Yeah, I forgot to put the reverb on, but that's okay. All right, that's what I have for you today. Are there any questions that I can answer? If you're having any trouble with any of these finger picking patterns, just take them, isolate them one by one, and just take your time, because it takes time to be able to really get these down. I talked earlier in the video about how I started taking classical guitar lessons. Did I talk about that? I started studying classical guitar with a classical guitar teacher when I was about, I don't know, in my 30s. And about the time when I was about 30 years old. And that's when he was like, okay, we need to hold the guitar totally different and everything like that. And I had gigged in the LA area for, a couple of years. I mean, I was in a band. We gigged like 4 to 5 nights a week and that kind of thing. We made some really good money. So I was a professional musician. I knew what I was doing, I thought, right? But I really wasn't very good at finger picking. So I completely stopped everything I was doing as far as, working on electric guitar stuff and things like that, and just did some very simple chords and learned how to change my finger picking style. And I actually started with that classical guitar position, just like this, working with the G chord. Hey, Albert. Are you there? There he is, Albert Drent. Hello, Albert. Welcome. Happy New Year. Okay, in just a minute here, I'm going to shut this down and we're going to go over to Rock Out Loud, and I'm going to work and talk with a couple of my supporters there. Anybody who's welcome. If you get my email, you get the link to learn how to do that. Also at Subscribestar and at Patreon. I give the link to my supporters so they can come and chat with me. We can get together and talk about stuff like amplifiers, like you guys are talking about. And anyway, how do you pronounce Van Gogh? We pronounce it Van Gogh. How does Albert pronounce Van Gogh? Oh, that's the question. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year, and hope you all have a good one. I will be back next week, but on a different time frame because I'm going to have lessons during this time. I've got students that need this time, so we're going to do it at a different time. If you have suggestions about what time you would like to see your local time, I know Albert is over in the Netherlands, and tell me what time you like. Also, Dermot, tell me what time you like, and Bob and Dean, tell me what time you like, or if it doesn't matter, we'll just do it whenever. Danielle Capdielli, Happy New Year. Hello, Danielle. I think it's Danielle. Is that how you say it? Happy New Year. Welcome. Appreciate everybody being here and getting together. All right. Whenever, Dean says. Dean's he's retired. Okay. Some of you work, though. I know you do. And it might be hard to go at certain times. I could even do it on Saturday if I really wanted to. Or later at night or earlier in the morning. All right. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend. Happy New Year. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and then we have our New Year, and we'll be into 2023. Starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills. Sketch the trees and daffodils. Catch the breeze and winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land.